CTV News at 6 with Hudson Mack.
Good evening. Thanks for being here. The bridge will cost $93 million, not $77 million, but Victoria City Council is going ahead with Plan A anyway. Council has spent much of this day examining the three options to replace the Johnson Street Bridge, a report that was made necessary by the ballooning cost estimates. And late this afternoon, councillors emerged to say that the city is going to stay the course. But if $93 million is the cost, then that has to be the final figure.
Well, the problem that we faced is a fundamental design to change and scope would actually lose us the $37.5 million of federal funding. So we could go do some work and change how it looks, take items off, but then bring in a bridge that costs the taxpayer of Victoria more. The cold comfort we have is that we said to the citizens of Victoria, we are going to build a bridge that is going to cost you $49.2 million, and that's what we decided today. That number stays true, that we're still going to have all the amenities that were promised and generally the design that was put out there during the referendum. Every line item that said how this has increased was one that you couldn't disagree with, but the combination of it coming together was quite frightening and not one you wanted to be at. So what we had to do now is recognize that this is the reality that we're facing. What can we do as council to lock down that fixed price to make sure it will not climb? And what can we do to make sure that council does its job of oversight? We did specifically leave open within this motion the opportunity to say, if it's coming over, what design would make us and keep us within the approved budget? And so that is part of the opportunity that we would see in June. So this is where council's comfort came forward, is that we know that we can stay within that budget. We don't want to change the design, but if we have to, then we'll consider that.
Council got a detailed technical briefing today. There are several reasons why the construction costs have gone up, from bedrock surprises to underwater communication lines to the cost of going back to the PSD and higher steel prices, among others. Council has included in today's motion that staff report back in June as part of the efforts to keep a close eye on design and cost structure as the plan moves forward. Council promises no tax hikes, but it cautions that there's no more money available to them, so the project must come in on time and on budget.
One of the most important features for me in even considering this option is the knowledge that we will not be increasing taxes. This will not require a tax increase. It will unfortunately maximize all of our borrowing capacity and our capacity for grants, at least the grants of which we're aware. So unfortunately, it was my hope when we received the $16.5 million a few weeks ago that we would in fact be able to borrow less. But of course, with this new budget, it means that we'll be spending not everything that we have within our capacity, but pretty darn close.
Now, timing in the bridge project is a major consideration aside from the cost and taxes. Choosing a different direction today could have jeopardized the federal funding that's available. That's about half the original cost. If the project isn't finished by 2016, that federal money will go away. The province, meantime, is taking credit for the jobs that the Johnson Street Bridge project will create, even though it still hasn't paid a cent. It might, if you were willing to pay a toll. CTV's Stephanie Sherlock has that part of the story.
I think we need to really start thinking about sharing of the costs associated with maintaining downtown Victoria.
As council decides whether to change the current design for the Johnson Street Bridge, more and more people are questioning why the province is unwilling to support the project.
You know, I certainly know that they are looking and have looked and asked in the past, but the answer is still the same. We do not have funding available for that bridge.
I think it's a problem. That's one of a number of problems with our current provincial government.
Both the Portman and Golden Ears bridges on the Lower Mainland were fully funded by the provincial government to the tune of more than $3 billion. Now, the Johnson Street Bridge is smaller by comparison, but the real difference between the mainland bridges and ours may be revenue. The mainland bridges charge tolls, a way for the government to get back its initial investments. Could that be the answer here?
It's a tough question. I guess it's just a question of whether everybody should share the price. Everybody might want to go up that bridge one day.
I wouldn't like it at all.
For our new bridges, I'd rather have the old bridge.
That would be more likely, as federal funding for the project dictates that it can't be a toll bridge. The provincial government is also being criticized after the official BC Jobs Plan Twitter account tweeted this on the weekend. The opposition claiming that the kudos for the jobs and economic benefits are misplaced, that the province is taking credit where none is due.
We partner with the federal government to have this gas tax fund that is available that helps provide dollars to the Victoria project.
Unbelievable to see that the provincial government, the BC Liberals, are trying to take credit for 900 jobs that they have absolutely nothing to do with.
I don't tweet a lot, or at all for that matter, so it's hard for me to comment on that. Well, I think whether you contribute or not, I mean, the whole idea of building a stronger province is finding ways to work together, and that doesn't mean just with money.
At this stage of the project, money is what Victoria needs. Stephanie Sherlock, CTV News, Victoria.